Hello and welcome to Shootin' the Breeze. I'm WECT First Alert Chief Meteorologist Gannon. And on this 10th episode, I'm excited to shoot the breeze with the new director of the National Hurricane Center. He has some great advice on weathering hurricane season that I think both new Cape Fear residents and long-timers alike should find interesting. Also, since this episode is dropping in summer, which is a sticky, sweaty, humid time, moisture is going to be a prevailing theme. So let's kick it off, as always, with some trivia, and this is about the rain form of moisture. This question is rooted in Wilmington's oldest monthly rain record, all the way from July of 1886. So quite simply, how much rain fell in that July to set that record? Was it A, 18 inches, B, 19 inches, C, 20 inches, or D, 21 inches? The soggy solution when we wrap up Shootin' the Breeze in a moment. In this Photographer's Corner segment, one of the most beautiful manifestations of atmospheric moisture. Dewdrops, beads of moisture, bring surfaces alive with personality and can be a photographer's dream. I grabbed some shots last fall on some outdoor plastics and vinyls. And check out this nothing short of awesome photo from Eric Kozin from the blueberry city of Burgaw. A gorgeous array of dewdrops on a collection of ripening fruit from a quiet spring morning. Dew forms on nights and mornings when the air temperature descends to the dew point temperature, which encourages moisture to condense from the air. So if you're looking to capture a delightfully dewy display, try first thing in the morning. This is intuitive, I think. But also, if you want to give yourself a leg up on grabbing a great dewy shot, look for clear skies and light breezes in your first alert forecast. These factors definitely encourage dew production as they encourage temperature falls and discourage evaporation. The long nights of autumn are typically great for dew production. So be looking for the right conditions as we head into spooky season. For your inspiration, here's an all-timer from the great photographer Keith Green Sr. of Brunswick County. He was on the spot as a truly dazzling dewfall bejeweled and adorned this spider web. Hurricanes can endanger your physical, mental, and emotional health. In the spring, I had a chance to shoot the breeze with the new director of the National Hurricane Center, Dr. Michael Brennan. Here is some of his insight as we head toward the heart of the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season. Piece of advice that you might have for someone who's lived in the Cape Fear region for 50 years, been through dozens of tropical storms and hurricanes, and a piece of advice for a new resident from a non-hurricane zone, perhaps the Midwest, which we're getting new residents all the time. So best piece of advice for one and best piece of advice for the other.
Well, for the long-time residents, don't let your experience with a past storm kill you in the next storm. We've seen that time and time again along the Gulf Coast and other storms, other places where people think they've survived the worst that could happen to them because they went through a particular storm. Every storm is different. Every storm brings different hazards. The coast is dynamic, it's changing. We have things like sea level rise that are making storm surge worse and pushing storm surge into places where it didn't necessarily occur before. We have heavier rainfall now in a warming climate that's affecting and creating freshwater flooding that's worse than what we've seen in the past. So just because where you live hasn't flooded in your lifetime or as long as you've lived there doesn't mean it can't flood now, especially if you live in a storm surge evacuation zone or a flood prone area, even inland. So again, every storm is different. Assess the risk and listen to the advice if you're asked to evacuate. For people moving to the Carolina coast, the Cape Fear region from non-hurricane prone areas, know your risk. Find out what your risk is, talk to your friends and neighbors, go to your local emergency management website, state, local, county government, city government. Find out if you live in one of those storm surge evacuation zones, because that forms the basis of your entire hurricane preparedness plan. Because if you're going to be asked to leave your home, you have to know how you're going to get there, where you're going to go, what you're going to take with you, and you want to make that plan now. You don't want to be figuring it out in the face of a storm. Also know what your house is built to in terms of rating for wind. What can you safely stay in? If you live in a mobile home, you may need to evacuate for a tropical storm or certainly potentially a hurricane. If you live in a stick-built home, you need to find out what it's rated for. Make sure you have proper insurance. Remember that regular homeowners insurance doesn't cover flood damage from either storm surge flooding or from freshwater flooding. So if you're in a flood-prone area, make sure you have the proper insurance coverage from a flood perspective so that you can recover after the storm.
Stay vigilant and prepared for the heart of the Atlantic hurricane season with the comprehensive and always local First Alert Hurricane Center at WECT.com/hurricane. In this Forecaster's Notebook segment, a profile of the very rainy month that is August in the Cape Fear region. 7 to 9 inches of rain falls in the month on average, with each of its 31 days averaging 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch of the wet stuff. So why does August tend to be so soggy in Wilmington? Simply, it checks both main boxes for precipitation generation: atmospheric moisture and lift, i.e. a means to condense that moisture out of the atmosphere and make rain. When it comes to climatologically favored lifting mechanisms in the Cape Fear region, of the 12 months, August boasts more than most. First, heat-driven updrafts fuel classic daytime pop-up thunderstorms, efficient rain producers for sure. We see this all hot summer long, really, so of course August is smack in the middle of the mix. August also opens up a brief nocturnal thunderstorm season for the Cape Fear region, with its combination of near-peak ocean temperatures and nights which steadily grow longer and attempt to grow cooler on the land. With this setup, updrafts from the sultry marine air develop and readily fuel showers and storms at weird hours like 2, 4, and 6 a.m. sometimes. And as the ocean is about 85 degrees at this point, you better believe these cells could dump too. Other lifting mechanisms are continental cold fronts that are more apt to make incursions into the Midwest and the Northeast in August versus July. But 9 times out of 10, these fronts ultimately stall in the Carolinas, and these features are excellent sources for convergence and lift for storms. And last, but certainly not least, tropical storms and hurricanes. August is second only to September for Atlantic tropical activity, and history shows that a direct hit or graze from an active tropical system or its remnants can mean big rain for the Cape Fear region. So, here in the First Alert Forecast Center, we keep our heads on a swivel in August. Drought is rare. Rain tends to come fast from a number of directions, and odds for it are almost never zero in a given hour or day. Keep up with us with radar, future radar, hour-by-hour forecast, and custom forecast videos on your WECT weather app. So that's August rainfall for you. What do you think about this episode's trivia question on Wilmington's very long-standing July rainfall record? Well, this is a case of go big or go home. Congrats if you picked D. In July of 1886, a whopping 21 inches of rain fell on the port city. That's it for this 10th episode of Shootin' the Breeze. Thanks for riding with us into double digits, and be sure to connect with me on these platforms if you have a question about a topic you saw here on Shootin' the Breeze, if you have a suggestion for a Cape Fear or Carolina weather item you'd like to see covered in the future, or if you just want to say hello and what's the good word. And as always, WECT.com/anywhere is a great place to find more unique WECT OTT content. Hope I'll see you for the next episode of Shootin' the Breeze, and take care.